Let's go to Ray in Raleigh, North Carolina. Beautiful part of the country. What's up, Ray?
Hey, how you doing?
We're getting it. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Yeah. Well, we're all right. We're all right. If I told you that today was just the greatest, that would be dishonest. But you know what? We're doing well. The heater and air conditioning works, and my paycheck deposited. So I'm going to count it good, and we're going to go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
So what's up?
Well, me and my husband have suffered some pretty big tree trauma growing up and are still going through some stuff now. Yeah, and need to know how to deal with it.
Oh, hun. You said big T trauma, right?
Yeah.
So it's still sitting on you pretty tight because it's hard to even say it out loud. Tell me what's going on.
Okay, hold on.
Take a breath. Take your time.
Okay, so my mom was killed when I was little.
Oh, man.
And I was messed with when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents, my stepmom and my dad, were pretty emotionally abusive. And they became alcoholics whenever I turned 18. I think they may have suffered that whenever I was growing up, but I never noticed it until I turned 18. I was just kind of secluded and left to myself for the most part.
Yeah. Did they know about the sexual abuse?
No, I've never told anyone except my husband and my best friend.
Gotcha. Okay.
And my husband, he was raped when he was 10 by a close family friend,
Mm-hmm.
and his mom was pretty sexually abusive towards him.
Hmm.
And pretty much our whole families were pretty emotionally abusive to us. So we have like no one. And the one person we thought we had this year to help us out was our grandma on his side. And it turned out that she was just using us so that she can regain her relationship with her son, which is my husband's dad. And everything that we were telling her and trying to confide in her, she was just relaying back to the people that have abused us.
Mm.
And I've got 3 awesome, beautiful girls and an awesome husband.
Yeah.
And, we've been through a lot. And it's like every pregnancy I've had, it's like they've reared their ugly heads and showed up.
Yeah.
And we sent them letters, both sets of parents. With my parents, I just told them, I've already called them and asked them, hey, don't drink around the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got an alcohol problem, and I don't judge you for drinking. We don't care about that at all. I just don't want you doing it when the kids are there.
Yep.
And my stepmom has ended up calling my husband's, or not calling, she Facebooked my husband's mom and was like playing that Nana boo-boo, I get to see the grandkids and you don't card to her. So all that was screenshot by his dad and sent to him. So
hey, do me a favor.
Yes.
Are you on your cell phone?
Yes.
Okay. Take your phone, and I'll just wait here for a second, and I want you to pull up your parents, and I want you to delete their numbers from your phone.
Okay.
Or block them. I don't know the right way to do that. I just know they need to be out where they can't contact. You're done.
Okay. Well, I've already blocked them on Facebook, and
You're just done.
Okay.
And then I want you to take your in-laws and done. They're blocked. They can't contact you. They can't get in touch with you. They're not welcome around you. They're not welcome around your family.
Yeah. So that, and
hold on.
that, but okay.
They're done. Done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No more discussions. No more trying to make this thing work. No more being responsible for their brutality and their evil and their manipulation and their abuse and their silence. No more.
Yeah.
You got 3 little girls that are worth more than that. You and your husband have found yourself on the other side of hell, but you're still chained to it. And you're going to find out those chains aren't clasped. You're holding on to those chains. I want you to let them go.
Okay.
And that's hard, but we're done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, that's the problem I'm having.
Okay.
Me and my husband are a little at a disconnect with that.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Here's the things you just laid out to me. I bet your ACEs score is a 7 or 8, if not more. I want you to get online today in ACEs, ACES. It's the Adverse Childhood Experiences Scale. I want you to just take it. It's online. It's 10 questions. And if you score over a 4, which you have, you're more likely to get cancer, strokes, heart attacks. Your body is at war.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And the goal of healing from big T trauma is this. Trauma simply means your body is responding in the present to things that happened in the past as though it's happening again right now.
Yeah.
And if you were sexually abused as a child, as you have daughters that get within shouting distance of that age, your body remembers that story.
Yes.
And it starts sounding every alarm because it's danger, danger, danger.
Yep.
And it's not a matter of you don't trust them. It's that your body doesn't trust the world. And more importantly, your body doesn't trust relationships. And that's that weird thing is you gotta have relationships or we die, literally.
Exactly. Yeah. I finally was able to make one awesome friend. I worked with her, and we got one person in our life that we can trust.
Awesome. So the goal is to work through the big T trauma so that you can think about what happened. You can remember those conversations, A, on your own terms, and B, your body doesn't take off on you because it knows it's safe now. That's the goal. Right? Can't undo that stuff. We got to own it. It happened. And then the question is, now what, right?
Yes.
The first order of business is cutting ties with the people who abused you.
Yes.
And your language, in this case, matters. How did your mom, how was she killed?
An ex-boyfriend shot her at a gas station.
Okay. So killed the word is your mom passed away. She died. But the way you told that to me could have been a car wreck, could have been a medical issue. Your mom was murdered.
Yes.
And you have to own that language. You were not messed with as a kid. You were sexually abused.
Yeah.
And when you come up with, and I do it, we all do it. When we use language to take the sting off of what happened to us in our present, in our past, and sometimes people say like, well, my husband just was, he cheated on you, right? You got to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Your body feels the weight of it, but your mind has new words. And you know what happens when you lay new flooring over old flooring and there's water there, mold grows underneath, it just rots out everything.
Yeah.
And so we got to use the words of what actually happened, and then we have to respond to that stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Your parents were abusive. They were alcoholic. They were absent. Trauma can also be, so you told me some big T traumas. You probably know this. Big T trauma can also be what didn't happen.
Yeah.
Moms and dads are supposed to be present with their kids and let them know that they're safe and that they are loved. And children of alcoholics don't get that.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? So the goal here is to experience those, to think about those things, and your body doesn't take off on you. You're able to just be present with your husband, with your daughters. Sounds like your husband still wants to stay connected to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to separate us from it, but he thinks that he can be this big wall that separates. But I don't want him to be the wall, because it's just like letting the stupid bear in the living room maul my husband so that he doesn't get to us. I think there needs to be a separation from all of it.
Absolutely, yes. So your husband is trying to be a good kid, And as somebody who grew up like he did, he was probably responsible for the emotional and psychological and relational well-being of the adults in his life.
Well, can I tell you what happened this weekend?
Absolutely, yeah.
We told them in a letter that we were not talking to his mother, period, and we were having no contact with her, and we were just completely and totally done with her, and we needed to go seek counsel on how to handle his dad, because that's where we weren't agreeing on how to handle it. I just wanted to cut him off just like his mom. And he doesn't see it that way yet because he was closer to his dad in his eyes than anyone else. Well, anyway, his dad called him the other day or messaged him and said that he wanted to meet with him man to man, like degrading my husband.
Are we gonna fight? What? Okay.
Well, I don't know. That's what it sounded like to me. But anyway, he met with him at a park and he brought his favorite freaking cookies that his mom gave him. As like, I guess, a peace offering or whatever, and tried to talk things, or he wanted to talk things out, but my husband wasn't giving him any information or anything, just that we weren't going to be talking to mom, pretty much. And his dad told him, he asked him, if the stuff that your mom did bothered you, why didn't you say anything about it? And it made me sick, and I couldn't believe he said that to him.
That crap, because now, it's your husband's fault now?
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid. You know whose fault it is? I don't want to go down that road. Here's the deal. Dad knew that crap was going on.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's not just the dad. The grandma she called the hospital when I was giving birth to my third daughter in September. She showed up to our house the week after I had my baby. Not invited, unannounced. My oldest daughter was crying because she couldn't understand why she couldn't go see grandma. And I had to explain to her, honey, we're not talking to grandma right now. I don't know how to explain this to you right now, but when I know, I will tell you one day, just not right now. And then my husband got her to leave, and then she told him that she was going to call his dad, and then showed up the next day, uninvited. Luckily, this time I saw them, so I was able to get the kids in the back room so that my husband could go handle them outside. But they showed up with his mom, his dad, and his grandma. They all came back. And I just want to call the cops and just have them deal with them.
Absolutely. This is manipulative narcissist. This is nonsense.
Exactly. And his grandma showed up at his place of work last night. And,
So grandma needs to be notified that there's going to be a restraining order against her if she shows up again.
Okay. Should we even have a talk with her? Because I don't think we should at this point.
At some point, surely your husband has said, you're not welcome here. I'd like you to go.
Well, he did at the whenever she showed up at our house, but now we agreed that we would have a conversation with her, but I don't even think there needs to be a conversation anymore.
I would not have one in person. I would make a phone call. I would.
Okay.
And I would say, you are not welcome in my house. You are no longer a part of our life. I would recommend, and Ray, and I know this is hard, I'd recommend y'all think about what the next 18 months, 12 months, 24 months looks like for y'all to move and go somewhere. These roads haunt you.
Yes. I've been wanting to move so bad.
It's time. And here's the thing. It's time for you to sit down and tell your husband what's actually happening. And here's what you can tell me I'm wrong, but children who grew up in systems of abuse, which is how you grew up, and your husband did too, they get really good at two things: making sure everybody around them is okay and keeping secrets.
Yep.
And y'all have an ecosystem in your home where both of you are trying to make sure the other one's okay. You're trying to keep up a fantasy where these kids that you have, these beautiful daughters that you have, are still going to have grandparents, and y'all keep secrets from each other.
Well, not really. We tell each other everything, even when it hurts.
Does he know that you're about done? Because you are.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
He gets it.
Yes.
All right, so he
supported me calling today. I think he just needs to hear it from somebody else.
Good, because he's about to lose you.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty resentful.
Yes, there you go. And he may not lose you in body, but he's going to lose you in spirit.
Yeah.
And then you know what happens? This whole cycle starts over again.
Yeah.
Because the only way to get over the gap of being married to someone who you love, but you chose abusers over them, the only way to get through that is disconnecting, whether it's alcohol or whether it's working too much or whether it's somebody. Here it goes again. And your daughters
Yeah.
grow up in a house with two people who are absent and they're there in body, but they're not there in spirit. And the whole thing happens again.
Yep.
Right? You and your husband are doing brave things. You're like Terry Real says, you're staring down this forest fire and saying the generational trauma stops with us.
Yep.
But what I'm telling you is you got to go
Yeah.
all the way.
Okay.
You can't stare this forest fire down and one of you's got a hose and the other person's just being like, hey, don't spray so hard. Don't spray that water too fast. Then you're going to both, everybody's going to burn.
How, like, I just made a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm afraid I'll lose her if I move.
Listen, right now, let's worry about things in order, okay?
Okay.
Let's worry about things in order. You might have a different relationship. You might have to go make new friends. Here's what you've proven to yourself, that you're worth being loved and you're worth hanging out with.
Yeah.
And you're worth having joy. And there are good people, a whole bunch of them that are trustworthy that you can tell crazy things to, and then we'll laugh and say, hey, I'll buy beers. Or you found that person. It exists.
Yeah.
And so I want you to know that there's a bunch of hers out there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not telling you got to break up with your friend and all that kind of stuff. What I'm telling you is first, you got to get safe, and you're not safe.
Yes.
First, second, you got to get on the same page with your husband. Y'all got to get on the same page with a game plan. And at some point, it comes to you saying, we are moving. You can be a part of this conversation, but I can't be around this evil anymore.
Okay.
The fantasy that you're going to hold this family together, that grandparents are going to come around, it's over.
Right.
And if you've ever listened, we've done over 200 something shows of the show.
I think I've watched all of them.
Yeah, you're the only one. I've never told somebody to get their phone out and disconnect from their parents forever. And I'm telling you that.
Right.
Because they've got their foot on your head and you underwater and you can't breathe. And it's time.
Yes.
It's time. Okay? Let that go.
Yeah, that feels really good to hear.
You and your husband, I want you to go meet with somebody together if you can.
Okay.
If you can't afford it, sell something. I'd rather you sit on folding lawn chairs in your living room than have a couch, but make sure that you and your husband have gotten 6 sessions of trauma counseling together. Because y'all got a lot of healing, and you don't want to pass this on.
Right. I mean,
So here's what, I don't know if y'all have done this. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I want you guys, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, and you're getting it too. Have y'all ever gone to somewhere and just said, what could it be like? Usually in people in your position, you're trying to always putting out the next fire, the next fire, and the next fire. You never get to sit down and dream. What would it look like if there was just no fires?
Well, actually, we started this whole healing process like 5 years ago when we started like watching the Dave Ramsey stuff, and we just got out of debt and paid off our house at the beginning of this year.
Wow! Congrats!
Thank you. I appreciate that. Everybody, that's when we started noticing figuring out that our family were not going to be able to be a part of their lives. Because once they saw that we were doing better,
dude, it brings the leeches
worse.
out. Yes,
it does.
The vampires come out. So you may have to sell that paid-for house and go pay for another house with cash in another city.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. But you live around vampires, and at some point one of them's gonna get their teeth into your kids.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the scary part.
Or one of their kids, cousins, sisters, roommates, brothers, it's just gonna go on and on and on. Let's do this in order though. Moving is not a conversation for today. Conversation for today is we start by getting evil out of my house. I will not allow people to abuse me or my family or manipulate us anymore. Starts with a phone call to all the parents, to Grandma, this is the last phone call. We are disconnecting from you. If you come to our house unannounced, we will call the police. If you show up to my kid's school, we will call the police. We are done. And that will be hard, and you'll have to grieve that with your husband. That'll be hard. And then you begin making plans for what is next. But you're worth a life where you're not abused anymore. You're worth a life where your daughters are safe. And you're worth a life of laughter and joy and really hard work. In the gym, at your career, at whatever your hobbies are. You're worth more, and I'm sorry that these are the cards you were dealt, Ray. You've played them incredibly. You have played them incredibly. And now it's time to get up from that table and go to another table. You've outgrown that table. You're an absolute brave rock star. Keep us in the loop over the next few months, and we'll walk alongside you. I'm grateful to have gotten to talk to you today. You're a brave, brave soul.